Hey, Dr. Linhart. Let's talk shop about class this week. First of all, my five was going crazy with this idea of researching a video and trying to figure out what God is teaching me and how I took lecture and have been pondering my life. And I don't know if you know me very well, but I'm very analytical and I ponder things way too much, so much that I get myself in a think trap. And this week has been really good to have structure to that think trap and to really think about the quote that you left us with. Like, ask me whether what I've done is my life. God has really put this question on my heart of like, would you still love me in regards to Him? And if I stripped everything away that I do, being an RA, being an athlete, being a ministry major, just all the little things that I do that like somehow I think are going to get me brownie points with God, if I strip them all away, would He still love me? And I think as I look to my vocation, I kind of think the same way. Let me explain a little bit what that is. So one quote that I took away from this week is, my mission is to make God loved and to make love loved. And I thought this was such a powerful quote, but I was like, okay, so my mission is to make God loved and love love, which is pretty obvious as a Christian, like we're here to love God and love others. But I started asking myself, like, why would so many people choose the life of the little things? I started getting into some Modest Day greeting this summer, and Brother Lawrence and just him talking about, like, all I want to do is talk to God, and, like, all I want to be there, all I want to do is talk to God, and all I want to do is be in His presence. And the life of the little things seems so intriguing, but at the same time, like, it's the exact opposite of what we're taught. I grew up in a farm family, a family where my parents struggled to make ends meet, and when they discovered that, like, I'm doing really well in college, like, they really want me to make a name for myself. And, like, it's so tempting because that's what we've been taught our whole lives. Like, you're special. Go out and change the world and, like, do big things. But as I sit here and as someone who has the world of opportunity in front of them, I have a really great missions offer, but I really feel like I'm supposed to go to grad school. And it's one of those catch-21s where it's like, I'm going to win either way because God's going to use me either way. But would I be going to, like, make a name for myself or doing what God has called me to do? And contrary to popular belief, like, I really feel like God is calling me to teach, and I don't know what that looks like, but I know pride is probably going to be something that I'm going to have to wrestle with during that process, probably my whole life. And just drive me back to the life of the little things, that Trisha, like, your job is to love God and to make Him known. That's what God has called everyone in the Old Testament to do. In the New Testament, it's like to model Jesus and embody Jesus, in that we're not just preaching it, but we're practicing it. And I don't want to be somebody that looks at the Word and tries to lead ministry, but then doesn't do it in my own life. Or that I feel as a professor, like, I'm going to be handed students' faith, this little delicate faith, and I don't want to, like, stomp on it, and I also don't want to, like, just let it go. But I want to walk through, and I want to journey with people, and I want to practice what love looks like, and I want to practice, not just preach it. And I love what Schweitzer was talking about and how that was really cool for him. The second thing that I've really been thinking about in class is a little bit of a big one. So Schweitzer's article, he was fighting other Christians about good things. And he said a way that, like, he got them to listen is by embodying. And they were telling him, like, you're bearing good talent. Like, you could do a lot of different things. And I'm going to equate this in a weird way, but I want to be a woman that teaches biblical studies, which right now I know is, like, a huge, like, field for women. But at the same time, I feel like there's this invisible fence that, like, I'm not supposed to be there. And that I have Christians in my life, like, not at Bethel. Like, my professors have been awesome. And I'm in all guy classes, and it just feels like I don't belong there. And I'm TAing with Cami Brubaker, and that's been the biggest thing for me this semester, is to know that I have that, like, one cup, like, that one example that I can do this. And as I go home and as I go to Archbold, like, I get nothing but, what are you doing with your life? Like, you can't do that. Like, you should be a missionary, or, like, you should be in business. Like, God would use you more if you were in the business world and you were in a dark world. And I mean, I've contemplated that. I've contemplated, do I need to work at a secular university? Do I need to work at a Bethel? Like, what does that look like? But at the same time, it's just been this really big struggle of there are Christians fighting me on things that, like, I feel very convicted about, and whether or not it's my job to say anything to them. But I think it goes back to that humility that God's just been pounding into my heart over and over since the beginning of Spiritual Emphasis Week, when I've had to walk beside girls that are hurting and not just tell them things, but instead, like, walk with them through them with gentleness. And as I'm preparing to teaching Professor Brubaker's class on Thursday, and how do I teach Genesis with grace? And it's just very weird to live in a world where, like, I have never, like, I just have to work harder, and I feel like there's this invisible fence around me. And regardless of that, I've just kind of been left with this really cool feeling of peace, though, that God is like, I have you. And just as I took care of Teresa, and I took care of Schweitzer, and I took care of Lewis, like, I'm going to take care of you. And I know this video is a little bit longer, and I'm very sorry. But I just kind of want to share that with you, that this class has been really impactful for me so far, and I think that it's pulling out a lot of good things that I wouldn't pull out if I was just sitting down with coffee and somebody asked me what I wanted to do with my life. And I want to live a life that matters, but Linhart, I honestly don't know what that looks like right now. I don't know how to combine my two loves of ministry and missions, and I don't know what it would look like for me to teach and to be a woman in theology and to be a mom and a wife someday of a family, and also try to teach other children and, like, what that just looks like. And this book has just been really encouraging to me, as well as, like, the things that you've been saying. So thank you. Have a great night. Bye.